What was a fact that you regret knowing? Most people who jump off the Golden Gate Bridge don't die on impact. They have broken limbs and usually drown. Maybe it's well known, but the song, "I Don't Like Mondays," is based on a horrific story. A teenage girl named Brenda Spencer lived across the street from an elementary school. One day there were a bunch of kids outside the gate waiting to be let in, and she just started shooting at them. None of the kids were killed, but 2 school employees were. Afterwards she went back home to wait for the police, and she called up the radio station to tell them what she did. When they asked her why, her answer was, "I just don't like Mondays." From personal experience just how fast pigs process. The corpse had an old goat die in the barn and didn't find her for a couple hours. At the time we had 2 pigs that were a few months old. Didn't realize just how much we had fucked up by letting them be in with the goats that day. Come evening, we go to close up and do the evening chores, and find half of a goat spilled all over the floor with our pigs rooting around the guts. And that's the story of how 15-year-old me learned to respect pigs. There was a woman in the 18th century called Mary Toft who stuffed dead rabbits into her beep and later acted as if she gave birth to them. The doctors believed her till one of them examined found corn in one of the rabbit's stomachs. She also did the same with a hog's bladder and a cat's legs. Don't know why I even know this. Said it. Who the beep found this helpful. Please don't put rabbits in your beep. The corn in the rabbit's stomach is what tipped them off. My dad and I both took DNA tests for fun, and I found out we aren't related. 0% match. Life hacks for when you don't want to tell your child directly they're adopted. The existence of dust mites. I have long since accepted that I am an ecosystem. That my real mom is my sister. Bob Ross actually hated his afro. When he started out it was the cheapest hairstyle to maintain, and once he picked up some traction, it was too iconic to get rid of. This is the saddest thing I've read. I'm not going to share it with anyone. Now this is the burden I carry. About to get sadder. Towards the end of his shows he wore a wig due to balding from chemo. Broke my heart when I read that. More people jumped from the burning World Trade Center on 9/11 than you think. Do yourself a favor and don't Google it. This is the fact I was going to post. Watching 9/11 on TV, I was too young to know what was going on, but I remember my dad crying and saying, they're jumping, over and over. Seriously. I was on a 9/11 kick recently, if you want to call it that, and I came across a documentary on YouTube of footage stitched together from the first plane hitting to the final building collapsing, lasting about 1 hour and 40 minutes. No interviews, just cell phone footage, old home cameras, and some news footage sprinkled in. There's a section in the documentary of people beginning to jump one after another. It continues on for the rest of the documentary and it's very disheartening. The magnitude of how dirty hotel rooms are. The worst part of this for me is that I worked in housekeeping at a hotel one summer when I was in high school. Maybe that particular hotel was just really good at keeping the place clean and was an exception, but I do have to wonder how much beep I just never noticed because I was a dumb teenager. Chainsaws were originally meant to be a surgeon's instrument to aid in childbirth. No joke, Google it. This is going to give me nightmares until menopause. The Challenger space shuttle astronauts were most likely alive and awake on the way down. NASA's lead investigator, Robert Overmyer, concluded most if not all of the crew were alive and possibly conscious during the entire descent until impact with the ocean. After the investigation, Overmyer stated, "I not only flew with Beep Scobie, we owned a plane together, and I know Scob did everything he could to save his crew. Scob fought for any and every edge to survive. Asterisk, he flew that ship without wings all the way down. Asterisk. I watched someone jump off the Stone Arch Bridge in Minneapolis and saw them pee their pants right before they jumped." Actor Daniel Von Bargen attempted suicide by shooting himself in the temple with a .38 revolver. He was diabetic and didn't want to go to the hospital for another amputation. Unfortunately he survived and was severely wounded. He also was permanently blinded from the gunshot. There's a transcript of the police call that left me shook. He passed away 3 years later from a battle with diabetes. I remember reading this is why some people duct tape the gun to their hand if they attempt suicide, in case the first shot doesn't complete the job. Edit for those asking why the duct tape. I believe the idea is that you can damage the part of your brain that affects your vision but not die from it. then you are possibly deceased.